Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 10 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 10-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 5 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 5-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
Hawkeyes Sports Network. From Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Your local Ford dealers, Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa football. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Also brought to you by Mid-American Energy. Look up, look out for overhead power lines. Visit midamericanenergy.com for electrical safety tips. By University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Cellular, built for the Hawkeyes, built for silencing notifications and turning up the noise. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa Farm Bureau, who would like to remind you to support America's farmers. Check out AmericaNeedsFarmers.org. And by Authentic Brand, the label you wear makes a difference. Step up your game day looks and everyday style with Authentic Brand. Here is your host, the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, high atop the Hilton Garden Inn. We're on the 12th floor. Another great crowd, great turnout, and why not? It's Iowa State Week. Yeah, it's the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series really starting to lather up, rev up, and get going. Actually, there's action tonight with the Iowa women's volleyball team hosting the Cyclones over at Extreme Arena. We'll keep you posted on that match between Coach Barnes and the Hawkeyes, who won three big matches over the weekend at Fry-Fest, as the Hawkeyes have stretched their record now to 4 wins and 2 defeats hosting the Cyclones tonight. The Hawks fired the first shot out of the gate, winning 2-1 over the Cyclones in soccer a couple weeks back when undefeated Dave Deani's soccer team got its season really rising to new heights with a big win over Iowa State here in Iowa City. So plenty of matchups to come amongst most of the sports, but of course none more high profile than Saturday as the Hawks head to Ames after a win over Utah State last Saturday. Iowa State also a winner out of the gate, defeating the Northern Iowa Panthers 30-9 over at Jack Trice Stadium. 2 new quarterbacks. One has a lot of experience. We speak of Cade McNamara. The other, Rocco Beck, and he has a solid backup too. Brand new, essentially, both academic-wise and playing-wise, and we'll get into all the matchups, the key matchups. It was a day really that both defenses ruled. The Hawkeyes both won the turnover battle. Iowa State, Jeremiah Cooper, their outstanding safety, who was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, picked off 2 passes, one early on in the game that he returned 58 yards to the end zone, pick 6, and all of a sudden you're up 7-0. That gives you a lot of momentum, and Iowa State gradually built the lead to 30-0 and win it 30-9 here in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes never really threatened, I didn't feel, in terms of was Utah State going to come back and steal the game away. That wasn't going to happen with that Iowa defense. I think we mentioned on the air in the last 180 games going back to 2009, excuse me, the Hawkeyes have given up on average 18.5 points a game. Utah State got 14. So when Iowa got that lead to 24-6, you felt pretty good, although on a hot, muggy day you wanted to finish the deal, and Iowa did. Iowa also won the turnover battle. Xavier Wampa with a big pick six, not a pick six, an interception over the center field area. Made a great break on the ball. He was, of course, the Hawks were in that patented zone, and Xavier sniffed it out and got a great break on the ball. And of course, he has wonderful closing speed. That led to a field goal, and the Hawkeyes eventually won the game 24-14. Both offenses sputtered at times. Iowa had a great start to the game. Cade McNamara came out, made his debut. Talk about a debut. He was 17 of 30 on the day. That's a 57% completion ratio, 191 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his Iowa debut. That's just his 17th career start. He hit Seth Anderson on the first play of the game. You got to go back more than 40 years to find the last time that happened. That was Chuck Long to Norm Granger. This one was 36 yards to Seth Anderson, another transfer portal newbie from Charleston Southern. He had a great year last year at Charleston Southern, so he knows where the end zone is. And the second touchdown pass on the next possession was to Cade's former teammate at Michigan, and now we're happy to say his teammate at Iowa, Eric All, the tight end, as the Hawks went up 14-0 early in the game, and were never headed after that. Speaking of tight ends, Luke Lachey tied a career high with 7 receptions for 73 yards, a big 31-yarder in the fourth quarter. Hawks didn't have a ton of chunk plays, but this was one of them that kept the drive alive for a touchdown that put Iowa up 24-6. The other one was Nico Reganey had a great catch on a long third down where it was a 50-50 ball, and Nico went up and got it, and the Hawks roll to the victory, and both 1-0. We'll kick off at 2:30 in Ames at Jack Trice Stadium, Cyclone Field, Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday afternoon at 2:30. Pregame coverage starts at 12:30 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Jay Higgins defensively had a career-high 15 tackles for the Hawks, including 11 solo. Jay, who hasn't played a whole lot for good reason, a guy named Jack Campbell, number one, but he's had to wait his turn, and now he's gotten his turn, and the young man from Indianapolis certainly made the most of it last week as he led that defense with 11 solo tackles. It was his second career game with 10 or more. I mentioned the Wampa interception. Those were just 2 of the highlights on the day for the Hawkeye defense. Running back Caleb Johnson, he's got to get it going on Saturday. Hopefully the offensive line can blast some holes in that always tough 3-3-5. That's 3-3 stack defense that Iowa State runs with they're really heavy up front with outstanding talent at the nose tackle in particular with Dominique Orange. But the Hawks somehow, some way got to find a running game. Iowa had just 88 net yards rushing on Saturday. Iowa State had 134 rushing yards on 27 carries, but neither team reached 300 yards of total offense. So they'll both be looking to establish some consistency in the run game, and who can blame them, and then win the turnover battle. That's typically how this series has swung or gone either way. Iowa State ended a lengthy losing streak to the Hawks last year, winning 10-7 over at Kinnick Stadium. So the Hawks will try and return the favor and start a new streak this Saturday. Overall, the Hawks have won 46 and lost 23 to Iowa State. This is the 46th renewal of this series that reignited in 1977 after taking a lengthy time period off from the 1930s and 40s through the 50s and 60s, and we're more than happy to see it restarted back in 1977. So that's kind of the backdrop, kind of sets the stage for what's coming up Saturday. Coach Ferentz will be here a little after 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll spend the final hour getting Kirk's keys to a win over Iowa State, as both teams are out of the gate at 1-0, and both now have a week's or a game's worth of film that they can study and improve on, correct the mistakes, get better at every position on the field, and should be better on Saturday. Both teams should be better and give, statistically anyway, more of a solid effort. We shall see. But, of course, defenses like to have something to say about that. Again, 12:30 for the pregame coverage, 2:30 for the kick here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. We're at View Rooftop every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. You can also stop by, though, on football Saturdays like this weekend at View Rooftop for a new experience unique to Iowa City. Immerse yourself in an invigorating environment with comfortable contemporary indoor and outdoor seating, high-definition televisions for watching the game, tailgate specials, and live music. Enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in Iowa City. Here's the phone number. You can call for reservations this weekend, 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. Thanks to the folks here at the View. It's a great view off the top of the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City and the surrounding Johnson County area. Beautiful, beautiful night here in the home of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Coming up a little bit later, as I mentioned, we'll have the Club Car Wash keys to the game and the Authentic Brand Hawk Talk Show winner feature. Submit an interesting question each week via Twitter or Facebook for Coach Ferentz, and you could win an authentic brand Hawk Box, which includes a gold shirt for the gold game, a black shirt for the blackout game, a reversible jersey for the A&F Spirit game, and a camo beanie for the military appreciation game coming up in mid-November as we honor our veterans. Thank you, Authentic Brand, and thanks to last week's winner, Mike. Mike had the most interesting question, at least in our view, and that is what are your top, meaning Coach Ferentz, what are your top 3 attributes when looking at an offensive lineman? So we got a chance to put you in the winner's authentic Hawk Box winner apparel merch here before the night's over. Text us. You can, tweet us on Twitter at Gary Dolphin or at Iowa_Learfield or at hashtag Hawk Talk. Facebook, we take those entries as well. Facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. YouTube, we're in the chat room of our live video feed. We want to thank KCRG Channel 9.2 for beaming Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz around eastern Iowa and central Iowa into your living room, and hopefully you're picking up our broadcast as well. Tonight's Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz is sponsored by Bud Light. Bud Light, a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light. Also a great sponsor for many, many years is Iowa Corn and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. This is their baby, the Cy-Hawk Series, and we'll talk with members of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board and Iowa Corn Producers Association coming up in just a minute when we come back to View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn on Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz from Learfield.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing US Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to US Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
I'm Ingrid Lizarraga, breast surgeon at the University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center, the state's only NCI-designated cancer center. Here, we look beyond just the type of cancer you have to discover the molecular details of the disease. We have teams dedicated to each cancer type, with treatments and trials you won't find anywhere else in Iowa. Go to uihc.org/cancer.
Running a business is a lot of work. Luckily, I've got a great partner.
Oh, I thank you.
I meant U.S. Bank.
I knew that.
U.S. Bank Business Essentials is a huge help to us.
Totally. Their comprehensive point-of-sale system does it all. Tracks inventory, manages schedules, customizes orders.
Plus, all the regular banking stuff.
If only it could make coffee.
Nah, that's your job.
From point of sale to quick loans, we have many ways to make your business boom. That's what U.S. Bank is for. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. While farmers work hard to grow the best crop, their Iowa corn checkoff investments are hard at work too. Opening local and global markets for corn and corn-fed products, educating drivers on unleaded 88 as the best fuel at the pump, finding new uses for corn, and sharing the farmer's story. Iowa corn farmers are backed by researchers, educators, market experts, and more to keep corn growing Iowa.
Does your company attire make you feel like you're always fourth and long? It's time for a change. Hand the ball off to Authentic Brand and watch your team transform into MVPs. On game days, our team dresses like champions in Authentic Brand. Ensure that your company's reputation remains untarnished by using nothing but the label specifically designed to display your company's identity. Ask your supplier for Authentic Brand products and see for yourself why it's more than just a label. It's a statement.
Kids eat free in September at Wahlburgers at Hy-Vee to celebrate National Family Meals Month. That's right, get a free kids meal with the purchase of an adult entree. Kids 12 and under can choose from favorites like a burger and fries, grilled cheese, chicken tenders, and more. Bring the family together. Dine in at Wahlburgers at Hy-Vee and get a free kids meal with the purchase of an adult entree every day in September. Dine in only. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. Kirk will be joining us shortly here on the Hawkeye Radio Network, YouTube, and KCRG Channel 9.2. Thanks to Iowa Corn for its 12th year of hosting the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series. This series, I mentioned at the top of the show, is more than football. Of course, football is the centerpiece, but the Cyhawk Series tracks the head-to-head matchups between the Hawkeyes and Cyclones, with each victory earning points toward the overall series championship at the end of the school year. The Cyhawk Series, Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series, paused during 2021 as COVID-19 restrictions, as we all remember, prevented the teams from meeting in head-to-head matchups. So the schools compete in everything from women's soccer and volleyball to football to men's and women's basketball, swimming and diving, wrestling, tennis, gymnastics, softball, and on and on. And there's an academic component to this as well. So it is well-rounded, and for that we thank the Iowa corn farmers in particular, but also the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board, who many years ago partnered with Learfield on behalf of both the universities, Iowa and Iowa State, and the athletic departments for the title sponsorship of the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series. That's a long, windy lead-in to our wonderful leader at Iowa Corn, but here he is, Stan Nelson. Stan has been farming for 42 years down in Des Moines County, Danville area, but he's from Middleton, which is right next door to Danville. Has about 100 people in it. So Stan is a proud Southeast Iowa native. You raise corn, soybeans for seed and hay, along with daughter Valerie and husband Jared, and daughter Emily and her husband Caleb. So Stan, welcome to the microphone. It truly is a family affair with the Nelsons, huh?
Yes, it is, Gary, and it's good to be here.
Thank you for stopping by. How many acres do you farm down in Southeast Iowa?
That varies year to year, but between all three of us, a couple thousand.
Only a couple thousand. Okay, that keeps you hopping in the pickup and the tractor, I'm sure. Stan currently sits on the National Corn Growers Association and the U.S. Grains Council action teams. You've been involved with the Iowa Soybean Association, the Cattlemen's Association, the Iowa Farm Bureau. How do you find time to be a family man and watch a little football?
That sounds like I'm busier than I really am. These organizations have great people, professional staff to keep things going between the busy seasons.
What fires you up about corn growers, corn promotion, and the Corn Producers Association, Stan? What stokes your fire?
I've always been excited about agriculture, that we're our own boss, we would set our own hours, and the opportunity to continue growing and continue research. And we can do research on a state and national level, and you can do it on your own farm.
The motorized age certainly changed farming, but I don't know if it's changed it as much as the social media, the computerized age. Farmers aren't licking their finger and sticking it up in the air to see which way the wind's blowing anymore. You've got that all instantaneously, and it's all in the cab of the tractor, isn't it?
It's on my phone.
Oh, that's right. It's on your phone.
My grandfather will tell stories of farming with horses, and that's the first auto steer. The horses knew how to go up and down the roads. Then we had a break to where you had to drive the tractor yourself, and now we're back to auto steer.
Unbelievable. Auto steer. And the rows are as straight as ever?
They're supposed to be.
You and your wife, Martha, reside on the family, I should have mentioned this, Century Farm near Middleton. So your ancestors knew what they wanted to do when they got to the Midwest, too, and saw that rich black soil.
In 1897, my great aunt,
wow,
and her husband bought the farm, and it's been in the family ever since.
That I can tell you're a proud native son and a proud farmer in Southeast Iowa as well. You should be. What gets you fired up about Iowa Corn's involvement with the Cyhawk Series, Stan Nelson?
Gary, Iowa is #1 in corn production in the nation, and this is an opportunity for us to share our story with the Big Ten and the Big 12. This series is watched and paid attention to coast, and it's an opportunity for us to really to say thank you to our consumers, thank you to the state of Iowa and our universities, and again, share our stories.
And there are plenty of stories that help enrich the lives of, 3.7 million people now in the state of Iowa. When we first started this relationship, Learfield, the Hawkeye Radio Network, Hawkeye Sports Properties with Iowa Corn, I was stunned when I was doing my background information check here. I grew up in small town Iowa, Cascade, which is up by Dubuque, about 1,200 people, ag community. I never realized how many products were derived from corn. This one has always stunned me. More than 4,000 products, from food to fuel, feed, and 3,997 more. I mean, that's just an amazing story.
And it continues to grow. Our research department is continuing to work on bioplastics, making plastics out of corn, clothes out of corn. And we continue research in,
Gas prices have spiked up. I know you're very proud to be part of ethanol production as well.
Yes, ethanol is big. If we remember in the mid-2000s, like 2005 or so, MTBE was causing problems, and it's an oxygenant in fuel, and that was found in groundwater, making people sick. And ethanol is a drop-in oxygen for fuel. It's been tested in millions of miles by automakers, by the EPA, by Argonne National Labs. It's a safe, clean, abundant, renewable fuel, and it's mostly made in Iowa.
That's the best part. Mostly made in Iowa. Farmers happy with the corn prices these days? Soybean prices and everything else, but corn primarily?
We're never happy.
Well, what am I thinking? Yeah. Why would I even ask that question?
That's right.
We're always complaining about something, aren't we?
We can manage the markets. There's technology. We don't have to go home at noon to listen to the noon broadcast. Again, that's on our phones. Manage that. Our yields, when you're working with Mother Nature, that's more dangerous and unknown. And especially this year with our drought, all of Iowa is in some level of drought. And some are worse than others. So we're trying to guess and estimate what your field is versus the neighbors to just keep in business.
What rain we've had is timely. What's the crop look like this year in the end, do you think?
Southeast Iowa has been in a good position for rainfall. Northeast Iowa, I think, is probably the worst. But with our soil health activities, Iowa Corn is interested in continuing and promoting soil health. And the way the farmers are treating our land and improved genetics, it is giving us a crop. 10 years ago, 2012, I believe, is one of our last droughts, and we're in better shape now than we were then just because of our soil health properties.
That great research always gives you a chance, no matter how dry or how wet it is, right?
Yes.
Well, what I've always said about the Iowa State football rivalry is you've got two phenomenal universities within the state's boundaries from different conferences, different Power 5 conferences. That is so unusual. Big 10 versus Big 12. That'll be another great day over there for Iowa Corn and the Hawks and the Cyclones.
We're looking forward to it.
I know you are. I see you graduated from Iowa State University. I should have brought that up first, but I know you're a level-headed guy. You want to see both teams do well and the best team win, right?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Stan Nelson, thanks for stopping by. And we'll see you Saturday at Jack Trice.
Very good. Thank you.
Great to see you. Stan Nelson, how about a hand for Stan, president of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. And a lukewarm Cyclone fan here as he sits amongst all these Hawk fans tonight. But Stan, enjoy the evening, and thanks to Iowa Corn again for a great support mechanism of the Cy-Hawk series that both universities enjoy. Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz continues from View Rooftop, high atop the Hilton Garden Inn, in just a minute. This is Hawk Talk from Learfield.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spahn & Rose, like GAF. Use the Spahn & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spahn & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spahn & Rose, buy easier, build better.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at U.S. Bank in your corner, making smarter money choices is a piece of cake. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not-so-smart choices in life. Like that time you tried to pick up unicycling.
Whoa, coming through!
Or when you thought it'd be okay to pet that squirrel in the park.
Good squirrel, good squirrel.
While we can't help you with all that, we can help you bank smartly at usbank.com/smarter together. Member FDIC.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup for the 2023-24 college athletics season? You can follow the standings of your favorite school or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. That's thedirectorscup.com and L Directors Cup on Twitter. Trophies will be awarded in June 2024 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Hello, Hawkeye fans. This is Bruce Gerleman, and I own Jethro's Barbecue. Have you heard the news? It's really big news. Jethro's Barbecue is now open in Coralville. That's right, across from the Hawkeye softball diamonds on the Coralville Strip. Jethro's is your game day headquarters. Call ahead and order your tailgate barbecue from Jethro's. Before the game, during the game, after the game, stop in Jethro's and eat my amazing slow-smoked wings and my world-famous baby back ribs.
Bump's Restaurant in the Finkbine Golf Course Clubhouse is the place to go before Hawkeye football games. For just $35 per person, you can have an all-you-can-eat buffet that includes barbecue, upscale tailgate favorites, a carving station, and all the fixins in the friendly comfort of the modern clubhouse. A full bar, Bloody Marys, mimosas, and over 35 beers are available. Reservations made on Friday before 11 a.m. include free game day parking for one vehicle. Kinnick Stadium is a leisurely walk down Melrose Avenue, so make game day easy by parking and eating at Bump's. For reservations, call 319-335-9662.
Hawkeyes and Cyclones, it's Cyhawk Series Week, sponsored by Iowa Corn. Welcome back to View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn. I'm Gary Dolphin, Ed Podolak, and I, and Rob Brooks. Our engineer, Corey Sheets, will all be at Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday, 12:30 for the pregame show, and then 2:30 for the kickoff here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Now, Hudson's Southside Tap is your Hawkeye game day headquarters. You can savor $6 house Bloody Marys and catch the Hawkeye Radio Network postgame show right after home games at Hudson's Tap live with Michelle Altmaier. Feel the Hawkeye spirit at Hudson's on Highway 1 West in Iowa City, out by the airport. Go Hawks. And Hawk fans, you can drive your team to a win this season by filling up with unleaded 88 and quick rewards, and receive quick rewards at any Quick Star location. Fuel up with 8 gallons or more of unleaded 88 and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win great prize packages throughout the season. Quick Star, proud partner of Hawkeye football. Coach Ferentz will be here shortly, and we'll go right to our Twitter and Facebook pages for questions. We got a bunch of them again tonight. Somebody's going to win a box of authentic brand merch, a gold shirt for the gold game, a black shirt for the blackout game, and a reversible jersey for the A&F Spirit game, as well as a camo beanie for Military Appreciation Day. Let's update you on the big volleyball match across town out in Coralville at Extreme Arena. The Hawkeyes won the first game with the Cyclones, and they're leading 21-15 in the second game. So a great start for the Hawkeye women's volleyballers in the latest chapter of the Cyhawk series. Of course, that's worth 2 big points in the overall standings, overall continuing series that will last on through next spring. And then, of course, the academic component at the end of the school year will help decide the winner as well. Iowa State on Saturday, as we mentioned. The Hawkeyes and Cade McNamara, watching Kirk's press conference yesterday, it sounds like Cade is good to go. He probably is limited like he was last week with that quad contusion, that quad muscle contusion, that soft tissue problem. If he does need a spell or a break, Deacon Hill will step in. The big fella got in there last Saturday for a series or two, threw maybe 4 or 5 passes, completed one. But Deacon Hill, it's hard to lose Deacon once the huddle breaks. At 6'3", 260 pounds, sophomore transfer in from the University of Wisconsin. He'll be McNamara's backup again. Caleb Johnson, that huge 55-yard kick return to start the game. How big was that last Saturday? Caleb tacked on another 50-plus yards on the ground and had over a 100-yard total offense day. So the Hawks are going to look to get that sophomore from Hamilton, Ohio, right near Cincinnati, going right away, averaging 3.3 yards per carry last week. Both teams will be looking to up the numbers and up the carries on the ground. Special teams also will be a factor. It always is in this game. And Torrey Taylor had another outstanding day against the Aggies, averaging 48 yards with a long of 53. And I'm still shaking my head over the blocked punt. Utah State blocked a punt, and Taylor kicked it with such force. It went straight up in the air, and then landed on its nose and spun toward the other end zone, or the goal line. I think it totaled 37 yards, 38 yards in length, which was a big break for the Hawkeyes. So Iowa, no doubt, was working on the punt coverage this week in practice to make sure that doesn't happen again, because Iowa State will be sending people. Drew Taylor had his only field goal attempt right through the uprights. It was a chip shot, like a point after try. But, Drew's in waiting, willing to run on there and help the team wherever he can. Chase Contreras is the field goal kicker for Iowa State. He booted one from 56 yards last week against UNI. So it looks like the Cyclones have certainly found a solid, consistent kicker in Chase Contreras, a redshirt senior out of Missouri Valley High School. He's 3 for 3 point after tries and a perfect 1 for 1 from 50-plus in field goals. Congratulations to Chase Contreras. He was a candidate for Special Teams Player of the Week. Defense has been so critical in this series. It always is against Iowa State. Last year's game was proof positive of that. At 10-7, the Hawkeyes had their 7-game win streak ended. And the defenses will be prominent again this Saturday. Of course, I think that we haven't certainly seen the best of the Iowa front yet. Y.A. Black had a solid game. Deontay Craig had the only sack for the Hawkeyes. Joe Evans, Logan Lee, Jeremiah Pittman got in there, Aaron Graves, Max Llewellyn. But certainly Noah Shannon's absence was noticeable. That veteran, crafty senior. You're seeing the young man Deshaun Lee, who filled in for Jamari Harris. Jamari will be out this week as well, and hopefully they have him back at corner next week. But here's Deshaun Lee, a redshirt freshman, really had never played, out of Belleville, Michigan. And the Hawks have had some good players down through the years defensively from that neck of the woods. Phil Parker, of course, is from the Ohio, Michigan, and Phil knows where to find him in that Detroit area. And Deshaun had an outstanding day with 6 tackles, 4 solos, and he was very glue-like in his coverage. He more often than not took on their best receiver because they didn't want to pick on Cooper DeJean. They did not want to go after Cooper DeJean for obvious reasons. But I thought the secondary, you add in Wampa's interception. Quinn Schulte was all over the place. Another guy that the quarterbacks for Laga he wanted no part of Quinn Schulte. Quinn had 5 tackles on the afternoon, and Sebastian Castro had a heck of a game. He was knocking people sideways most of the day, had 5 tackles himself. Kane Ontringer, another young man that you're going to hear a lot about going forward. Another redshirt freshman from Ypsilanti, Michigan. I noted Kane jumped out at me at the Music City Bowl in practices leading up to that bowl game. They really got him a lot of work. He's lanky at 6 feet. He's 210 pounds. and he is all muscle. He is a solid kid, and that secondary is continuing to build its depth. And given the four front men with Castro, DeJean, Wampa, Schulte, and Lee, that to me is a huge key Saturday, is which quarterback can figure out the other's secondary first, at least to help move the ball, which should help with a more consistent running game once those passes are being completed. Luke Lachey, the tight ends, will be prominent on both sides for Iowa and or Iowa State. Easton Dean is an outstanding pass catcher for the Cyclones, and they may have found a star for the future in Benjamin Bramer at Iowa State. He's a 6'7", 240-pound freshman from Pierce, Nebraska. I'll tell you more about Benjamin in just a minute. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here along the Hawkeye Radio Network. We're at View Rooftop. That's the home of Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. Back after this 10-second ID. Benjamin Bramer, this young man, this tight end for Iowa State, was a Nebraska verbal last year, and then Scott Frost and that staff was dismissed, so he reopened his recruiting. He's from Pierce, Nebraska, which is just due northwest of Sioux City, I think about 30 or 40 miles, and he caught a 36-yard touchdown pass, did Bramer, in that game last week. Iowa State has had a really terrific lineage of tight ends here the last few years. Okay, that again is more of the personnel for both teams. We'll continue to take your tweets and Facebook posts. As soon as Coach gets here, we'll start running through them. We'll get Kirk's keys to the game, courtesy of Club Car Wash. That's all ahead on Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz from Learfield.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Whether you're building a backyard fence for your family's new best friend or firing up the excavator for your next commercial project, a free and simple call can save you from expensive fines and even save your life. Call 811 at least 2 days before you start your next project to have underground utility lines located and marked. At Mid-American Energy, your safety is our #1 priority. So, make it your priority to call 811 before you dig. Paid for by the customers of Mid-American Energy.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. While farmers work hard to grow the best crop, their Iowa corn checkoff investments are hard at work too. Opening local and global markets for corn and corn-fed products, educating drivers on unleaded 88 as the best fuel at the pump, finding new uses for corn, and sharing the farmer's story. Iowa corn farmers are backed by researchers, educators, market experts, and more. To keep corn growing Iowa.
Hi, this is Hawkeye coach Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success is not a given, but with hard work, there are no limits. For years, Iowa farmers have believed in that too. Farmers are the backbone of this country, and their dedication to bringing us food and energy has never been more important. That's why we're proud to wear the America Needs Farmers logo on our helmets. Join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate farmers during the AM on October 21st. For more information and to win tickets Visit AmericaNeedsFarmers.org.
That's right. Hey, we're back with now the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz, is on board for the rest of our Hawk Talk program, sponsored by View Rooftop. We're here at the Hilton Garden Inn in the View Rooftop, and of course, thanks again to Iowa Corn and the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Iowa Corn, you heard from Stan Nelson a little earlier. It's Cy-Hawk Series week with the Hawks and the Cyclones. Iowa Corn promotes honest, hard-working values that are uniquely Iowan. And, of course, a staple of Iowa football. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we want to salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn on Facebook and learn how corn grows Iowa. Heard your commercials today for America Needs Farmers. Coach, spot on as usual, and look forward to seeing Brian Bulaga when he comes to town in a couple weeks. He's this year's recipient and honoree, but we like to pinpoint that how valuable agriculture is to our state.
I certainly learned that during my time here in the 80s, those 9 years I spent here, and it's a huge part, obviously, of what our economy is all about, and just it's part of our fabric and our culture here. So, learned a lot from people involved in agriculture. Not that I can grow anything, but learned a lot of lessons from just the ups and downs, how they dealt with things, and certainly the ANF thing was just such a brilliant idea by Coach Fry, and he was so good at things like that. But I think it really certainly brought a lot of awareness nationally to what was going on during those tough times back in the mid-'80s, and it's been a great thing. I think we wear it with pride on our helmets, certainly, and just honored to have that opportunity.
Congratulations on your 199th career win. I know you pay no attention to that number or any outside of wins and losses, but a terrific win for you in that you were debuting a lot of new faces, at least first-time players in a Hawkeye uniform Saturday. You've had a couple days to chew on the tape and the film, and what are your thoughts now? What pleased you? What needs to work?
Yeah, first things first, just as you said, we're really pleased to get the win. That's the first goal anytime you go out there and compete, and that we got that done. So happy about that, and then I'll follow up on the point you made too about the guys first time playing, either just in general or playing a bigger role first time in our uniform, as you mentioned. That's going to be part of football moving forward, college football at least. And in some cases you think about a guy like Cade McNamara who didn't play last year, so he's a veteran player who didn't play, and that's a big difference too. So there are a lot of moving parts there. Certainly their guys had the same thing going on. Utah State did, and probably most teams in the country. So first games are always interesting. They're I think the toughest preparation of the season, quite frankly, and especially in a case where their roster was such a different roster and some coaching changes. So that makes it a little bit of a challenge, and I think everybody, somewhere 8-10 days away from game time, just you need to get out there and play somebody else, and if nothing else, find out where you're at. So I thought our guys were ready to go. Pleased with the energy, pleased with the effort. Obviously, glad to get the win. Saw some really good things out there, some good execution at times, and then a lot of things that we're going to have to get better at and get better at faster, and that's typical in first games. And then just, learning from some of the bigger picture items. We got stopped on a 4th and 1. Normally, you just sneak it right there and just keep moving, hopefully. And we didn't have that option available. But, you got a 4th and 1. You'd like to think you're going to make it. Why else would you go for it? And then equally disappointing, then we let them drive the ball and get points off it. They kicked a field goal. So, just learning how to respond a little bit better. And after that, I'll mention this, so they got the field goal, and then, we were, I believe, 3 and out after that. So, they get a field goal, then we got to come back and answer. And that's just, it's part of the ebb and flow of football. Mm-hmm. Things aren't always going to go your way, but what your response is going to be. So, long story short, a lot to learn from on Sunday, and a lot to learn from, or at least reflect on over the course of the week while you're preparing for a really tough opponent. So, a good week, a busy week, and I think the guys have done a good job thus far.
You mentioned the 4th and 1. That was kind of emblematic of the running game. Unable to really get it going. 88 net yards. I know that is in Iowa football, and especially coming up this week. both teams will want to run the football against very good defenses. But what were the issues with running consistency, I guess?
Part of it was some fundamental stuff that, like the 4th and 1, just some things we've got to get better at and should be better at, and we're going to need to get better at. And then the other part about it, I mentioned it was tough to game plan. Really didn't know what it was going to look like, how they're going to present against certain formations, personnel groups, things like that. So that was a process during the course of the game. So that's just part of the deal. But I think overall we're certainly capable of running the football better. I'm encouraged by that. I think we have good backs. We're much better up front, much more mature, and it's not going to be easy. It's never easy, but I think it'll get better as we go along. This is a tough week to get it going, though, just because of what Iowa State's done defensively. Basically, since they settled into their scheme back in 2018, they've been really good the last 5-6 years, top 2 or 3 in their division, or their conference, year in and year out. So it's going to be a big challenge for our guys, but that's what the game's about.
Coach, to the passing game, how do you feel Cade and the receivers as a group were communication-wise, we're on point, on target?
I think overall, things went well that way. Protection was, went much better than it's been, and we're just a little, again, more stout up front, more mature. Hit some beautiful plays. Just had one here on the screen, and had some near misses on some others. And those are the things. If you can, change those numbers a little bit, it makes a big difference. And that really, to me, is why the score ended up like it was. Some near misses that we had, and some better execution. A play like that is not tough to execute, so you got to give both Cade and Seth a lot of credit there. But the ones that you can routinely make or should routinely make, that's a different story. And those are the ones that we got to focus on.
Yeah, 2 touchdown throws in the first 2 possessions, one to Seth Anderson of 36 yards, and then the 3-yard throw, the toss. Beautiful touch pass to Eric All.
Yep.
And there were some other, chunk plays, as you like to call them. Nico Reganey made a great double back to the football. 50-50 balls, what I was looking for. And then Luke Lachey, a critical 3rd down conversion, 3rd and long. I think it went for 21 yards. That kept a drive alive that ultimately resulted in a score. I know how much you like chunk plays.
Absolutely. And Nico and Luke are 2 guys that we know a lot about, and you have a lot of faith in. They've been here. And then flip it over, you got Seth, who's a newcomer, certainly, and Eric's a newcomer. So you got some guys in here that are adding to. And now it's a matter of putting things together. And again, I just circle back. The ones you got to make are the ones that are what I would consider to be a high percentage, and that really is a huge play in the game last year. We caught a ball in the flat and couldn't just turn and run it in for a touchdown, and play later, 2 plays later, we fumbled the ball. So I had a chance right there. That's a good illustration. It seems like a routine play. It seems like a play maybe you should make, and for whatever reason you don't. Those are the ones that come back and really bite you, and those are the things it's concentration, it's focus, and if you start making those routinely, then other things happen. The other, the wild, quote-unquote, wild plays, they'll happen as they're supposed to. But you got to make the routine plays, the makeables. And it sounds so basic, but it really is so true.
How about Caden Weegan with the 2 reverses? One a jet sweep, I believe, one a reverse. But he was critical in a drive or 2 for you that helped set up the score in the aforementioned drives we talked about.
Really happy to see that, and really happy to see him on the field and having production and hopefully gaining some confidence. He got here a year ago, January, and it was pretty apparent. Not the smartest guy, but this guy looks pretty fast. And so he was fast, 18 months ago, and he still is fast. But last year couldn't put it together, couldn't really make it work for him. And right now he's really done a good job. He had a good spring. He's had a good summer. And good to see him on the field, the game field, helping us do some good things. Tremendous young guy, works extremely hard, and just happy he's here. And hopefully his role will continue to grow as we go along.
Right out the road in Williamsburg, and the Hawks have had success with Iowa Western Community College that has won a number of national championships. Now, Deontay Vines had a great spring. You've been raving about him. I don't even know if he was targeted, had no catches. And, it's one game. But what is the issue, if there is an issue with Deontay? Was he that well defended?
No, I mean, there's no issue at all. And speaking of guys, I'm really glad they're on our team. He and Nico, we have total faith, and he's had a great preseason. He's had awful luck since he's been here, right off the bat with Achilles and, just terrible. So he's had a really good year. All that stuff will balance itself out. I know people get hung up on all that, but over the course of a season, I really believe the guys will get what they need, and they get, the ball goes where the defense really dictates in a lot of ways. So he's going to get plenty. He's a really good football player. He's healthy. He's practiced extremely well, and again, he's a guy that we know very well and have great respect for. So just really thrilled for him.
Oh, good for him. That's good to hear. Caleb Brown, he's still learning the game. He didn't play at all last year other than a few snaps at Ohio State. So you can imagine the rustiness continues to chip off him, right?
Yeah, he's been really, both he and Seth, to me, have been, I don't want to call them surprises, but really good stories through the month of August. And now I guess we're in September, so 5-6 weeks, whatever it's been. But both are guys that we felt good about. We never saw Seth in the spring because he had a hamstring issue, so he missed the entire spring. He's done really a nice job in camp, and I think he's got a great future. He's a young player, unlike some of the guys that transferred that are older. So he's got 3 years in front of him, and Caleb's the same way. And the other thing you got to remind people, and I remind our staff, Caleb is a running back in high school. So he's a guy who last year for the first time was playing receiver. He's done some really impressive things in August, and I'm confident both those guys are going to play very well for us. And I think it's kind of like our football team. I think if we're doing things right and working hard, we should be a lot better 4 weeks from now than we were 4 days ago. So that's a lot of guys with potential to have upside. And I mean, I don't know how many catches Deontay had last year. It was not 180, I know that. So during the course of the year, I think you're going to see all these guys really, do some good things maybe that you didn't see a year ago.
What pleased you defensively? I mean, Wampa's interception stuck out. I thought Sebastian Castro was all over the field. They're not throwing Cooper's way. Your young redshirt freshman, Deshaun Lee, really sparkled. It was more than the back end, but you rotated a lot of guys up front. Jay Higgins had 15 tackles, 11 solos. So there's plenty of praise to go around.
Yeah, those are all good places to start. You mentioned with Deshaun Lee. Deshaun hasn't played, and so for him to jump in there and play the way he did, and I was pleased with his physicality. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he played tough and did a lot. He played smart and physical, and those are two really good things. So happy with him and proud of his effort out there. Sebastian really, the bowl game things just seemed to come together for him that month of December. It just seemed like all of a sudden things are really clicking. He's playing faster and continued that Saturday. Xavier made a beautiful play and he's doing a really good job as we would expect. And Cooper's a really good player. Jay Higgins got a full day's work, and we expected that. He's just done a great job in the program, and he and Nick are going to be a good complement to each other. And the guys up front are really working hard. I think, we do have depth. It seems kind of crazy. You graduate Lucas Van Ness. It goes out a year early, but we still have, I think, a pretty healthy depth situation there, and a bunch of guys that really play with good effort. And, be anxious to see how they improve as we go along.
Well, that's kind of a synopsis. I guess we should mention Torrey Taylor and Drew Stevens. Drew popped his only field goal attempt through there. I'm still marveling at Torrey Taylor's block punt that spun forward for 37 yards. That's when you know you got an All-American on your side.
Two observations there. First of all, let's not ever try that again, because I've never seen that in my career. Where a ball ends up 30 yards down the field. I've seen a lot of guys that can't get it 30 with an unblocked punt, so that's a lot more common. And then the other part is just he's really just had a good camp, and it's a weird year where you got all your specialists back. So I'm really happy about that. But we expect great things from Torrey. He's really practiced well, and he's had a good week this week too. And it helps make you a more complete football team.
I don't want to lose sight of the fact, I talked about this before you got here, Coach. I just thought of this as we go to break. Caleb Johnston's kickoff return to start the game really set the tempo. You went right down and scored, and I know people want more out of the rushing attack, and that'll come. But that 50, I think it was 54 yards, 55 yards, somewhere in there. When you've got less than a half a field to work with, and you're working a first-year starter, at least in a Hawkeye uniform, and a quarterback, that's huge. That was a huge play to start the game.
Yeah, it's such a big play, energy-wise, just like kickoff coverage is. is too. And we've traditionally done a good job on kickoff coverage, but it's demoralizing if to the other opponent. If you can have them start inside their 20. That's a huge thing. And then conversely, if our return team can get it out over the 30, that's a plus. Obviously, anytime the ball ends up on our side of the field, our offensive side of the field, no matter how you get it there, that's a good thing. So, yeah, it was a huge spark play, just a great way to start. And again, we came out of the gate really well. We had 2 touchdown drives and 2 3-and-outs. You can't do much better than that. And the third drive is where we drove it, whatever it was, 45 yards, and then got stopped. But you have to have a response there. That's the next thing. And not that we're going to start 14-0 every week, but when something bad happens or something doesn't go your way, somebody's got to just step up here a little bit and take control of things.
And the Hawks will going forward. All right, those are Coach's thoughts about the rehash of the Utah State win. Now we'll turn our attention to the Cyclones when we come back with the Club Car Wash keys to the game. A proud sponsor of Hawkeye football is U.S. Cellular, built for the Hawkeyes. They're built for great interceptions and better reception, watching touchdowns instead of touch screens, and waving before streaming. After all, game day only comes once a week. U.S. Cellular is built for us. Also sponsored tonight, our Hawk Talk program here at View Rooftop, high atop the 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn. Thank you for tuning in around the Hawkeye Radio Network. Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the exciting moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for it all as your healthcare champion, making healthcare more affordable with more choices for care and peace of mind no matter what comes your way. Find the plan right for you at wellmark.com/touchdown. Back with more with Coach Ferentz on Hawk Talk from the View Rooftop right after this.
Hi, this is Hawkeye coach Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success is not a given, but with hard work, there are no limits. For years, Iowa farmers have believed in that too. Farmers are the backbone of this country, and their dedication to bringing us food and energy has never been more important. That's why we're proud to wear the America Needs Farmers logo on our helmets. Join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate farmers during the A&F game on October 21st. For more information and to win tickets to the game, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Running a business is a lot of work. Luckily, I've got a great partner.
Oh, I thank you.
I meant U.S. Bank.
I knew that.
U.S. Bank Business Essentials is a huge help to us.
Totally. Their comprehensive point-of-sale system does it all. Tracks inventory, manages schedules, customizes orders.
Plus all the regular banking stuff.
If only it could make coffee.
Nah, that's your job.
From point of sale to quick loans, we have many ways to make your business boom. That's what U.S. Bank is for. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing US Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness. Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to US Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
I'm Ingrid Lizarraga, breast surgeon at the University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center, the state's only NCI-designated cancer center. Here, we look beyond just the type of cancer you have to discover the molecular details of the disease. We have teams dedicated to each cancer type, with treatments and trials you won't find anywhere else in Iowa. Go to uihc.org/cancer.
We're back on Hawk Talk at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. Gary Dolphin with the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Time for our Club Car Wash Keys to the Game, presented by the official car wash of the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's Club Car Wash with unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. There's no better time to join the club. Visit clubcarwash.com and find a location nearest you. Iowa football at Iowa State, the renewal of the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series rivalry with the Cyclones. 12:30 for the pregame show here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. 2:30 for the kickoff on Saturday afternoon at Jack Trice. And Kirk, one of our questions on Twitter tonight is from David. Do you have a favorite rivalry week memory? It could be from any of your coaching days, but where this game is involved in particular, there's so many of them, it'd be hard to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a sick mind. I just thought of 2 games we lost. Okay, yeah. First thing pops in my mind.
Well, you mentioned last week in 25 years, what's most memorable part of 25 years? Probably the first season when Iowa was 1-10.
Yeah, that's
typical coach speak. I mean,
you got to go somewhere dark here.
The losses bother you more than the victories please you. I know.
Yeah, I mean that 0-2 loss was gut wrenching, and
Iowa State. You speak of Seneca Wallace.
Yeah,
How we remember that one.
That was tough. So that one, and then 81 was just an education for me. I'm
sure,
Willie off the pickle boat here, and first time Dames, Iowa, and I thought, here we go, and I had no idea what was going to happen. So that was quite an experience, and so that's why they call it experience. You have to go and sample things and learn, and see them and all that kind of thing, and hopefully you get smarter. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. If we win, it's good. And if we lose, it stinks. It's kind of like bowl games.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Well, the Hawkeye volleyball team is setting the stage for a good start to the week anyway. Iowa won the first 2 games with Iowa State tonight. Leads 2 sets to nothing, therefore. And the third set is tied at 21-all. Between the Hawks and the Cyclones over at Extreme Arena. So Coach Barnes and company doing their best to get the week started right, at least where the Cy-Hawk rivalry is concerned, sponsored by Iowa Corn. Well, big picture, Kirk, my memory, which isn't as good as it used to be, at least in the last decade or so, seemingly it's come down to a play on special teams, a turnover on special teams, and great defense. And the offense finding holes to poke in the other's defense, which both these defenses have been top 10 nationally ranked for a few years now. And so that's tough to do.
It really is. And the one exception was the year, whatever it was, 18, whatever over there, the 44-41 game, I think it was. That one doesn't really kind of fit in the match, but overall it's been more defensive oriented. And really when it boils down to it, that's not unusual in big games, rivalry games, that type of thing. So expect that points are going to be tough to come by, I think, for both teams. I would anticipate just sitting here on Wednesday night. And then, like anything, when you talk about a game like that, special teams and ball security really factor in there. And I think that'll, it's safe to predict the same thing again this week. They do a really nice job being smart with the football. They did it last Saturday, and they've done it historically since Coach Campbell got there. Take away the first year, but once they got going, they really do a good job with the football. And they've, as I mentioned earlier, since 2018, they've been in top 3 every year in the Big 12 defensively. It's not, maybe or will they are. And a couple of those times they were number 1, a couple more they were 2. So I think there's maybe 2 times they were 3rd. But they've got a tough system. Coach Haycock does a great job with that defense, and it's just it boils down to, I think, 2 really good programs playing each other.
Let's start up front on defense with nose guard Dominique Orange. He was widely heralded a year ago. Only 1 game this year, of course, but coming into this season, he's a preseason All-Conference All-American pick. 6'4", 335 pounds. He is a load to get him blocked.
Yeah, they got big guys up there, and he's obviously, you just mentioned, he's really big. So he's a guy that takes up a lot of space, physical guy, and one nice thing I'll interject, compared to last week, at least we can see who played and where they play and all those types of things. It's only 1 game, but at least we got a chance to watch them compete a little bit defensively and offensively. So that always helps. But they rotate their guys too. They play a lot of guys up front. They're big physical guys. That's the job of the 3 down linemen, and that defense is
first, second down is to really protect their linebackers, much like we do with our guys. We do it out of a four-man front, but there are a lot of parallels, I think, philosophically about what they're trying to do, and that's free those linebackers up so they can get to the football and make plays. What are the keys to blocking that 3-3 stack?
Yeah, we've been working on that for about 6 years. It's so unique, and it's funny. I talked to the color guy today who's going to do the broadcast, Brock Heward, and he really said the same thing. Like, he's really been impressed with what they do defensively, and I know a lot of people have gone up there and they've tried to copy it. I don't think they've copied it as well as the way Iowa State runs it, but they make it tough. As I mentioned, the 3-down guys do a good job of playing blocks and making it tough to get free access to the linebackers. And then the other thing, their safeties are very involved, and more so than a lot of teams you're going to play. So it's not easy to get to the safety who, usually one of them is coming down, if not two. And they make it really disguise it well, and they make it tough for you to get to them. So that makes it a challenge. And then the other, just general observation about these guys, and I can say this over the last 5 years, and I just mentioned they're a good team defensively, and this is true in any good defensive. They tackle well. Their entire team tackles well, and I'm thinking back to a game they upset a quote-unquote, better team than them a couple of years ago. And the team that they upset looked like they were allergic to tackling, and Iowa State was not. That was a major difference in the game, and you wonder how things happen. That's a big part of it. They're just a really fundamentally sound football team.
Blocking and tackling. And much has been, imagine that in football. Much has been made of Jeremiah Cooper, one of those safeties, and rightly so. He's a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, 2 picks, including 1 for a touchdown, 2 interceptions last week against the Panthers. But Malik Verdon is solid at the other safety position. T.J. Tampa has been hanging around for a few years starting. So they not only are they good, they're veteran.
Yeah, Tampa's a really good player out there on the edge of the corner, and a really good player. Verdon is a guy who's really tough to get to, and he makes a ton of tackles. Really good football player, and I'd say the same thing about number 17. He's a really active, productive guy, and then. You mentioned Caleb Johnson with the kick return the other day. Cooper did the same thing with them. That was early in the game, got that pick six, beautiful anticipation, and made a pick, and then also finished the play, which is always a good thing if you're a defensive back. So that got them up and running. That right away, boom. Here they go. They got a touchdown right off the bat, and they really never looked back. They really played good defense the all 4 quarters.
What do you like about this young quarterback, Rocco Beck, the redshirt freshman from Florida? Didn't turn the ball over last week in his first extended role as a quarterback. J.J. Cole, true freshman, played a lot. So while young, pretty gifted.
Yeah, I thought he really looked like he was in total control. Looked very poised. He played a little bit last year. Can't remember how many snaps, but it wasn't a lot. But anyway, he just looked very poised for a guy who hasn't played a lot. Totally under control. Smart with the football. Dropped it down a bunch, and then he took a couple shots. And when they had a really nice touchdown, I believe it was in the second half. Like a 7-route, a flag route to the left there, and it was a really well-thrown ball to one of their tight ends. And it's just he played really well. Just did a really nice job, and they did a good job of being balanced.
They had 8-9 guys catch passes last week, Kirk. No Xavier Hutchinson, who, do you have, north of 100 catches, I think, each of the last couple of years. So they're spreading the ball around more, both tight ends and wideouts.
Yeah, I think we counted 5 tight ends in the game. Not all at once, obviously, but they rolled a lot of guys through, and young and old, they really played well. That's one more thing you got to worry about, because those guys, they have 2 good, solid receivers on the outside, but the tight ends really were productive for him the other day.
So those are Kirk's keys to the game, Club Car Wash keys to the game. Obviously, getting the lead early on the road would be huge for the Hawkeyes. Club Car Wash, unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. There's no better time to join the club. Visit clubcarwash.com. Find a location nearest you. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series, Iowa Corn is promoting honest, hardworking values unique to Iowa. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn on Facebook and learn how corn grows Iowa. When we come back, we'll pick our authentic brand merch winner for the night. What we feel is the best question on Twitter, or best comment on Twitter or Facebook. All season long, our broadcast team exudes style with authentic brand attire. You should too. It's the brand we trust for premium game day looks and everyday styles. Whether you're in search of top-notch company branded merchandise or apparel that proudly showcases your Hawkeye pride, ask your supplier or local retailer for authentic brand by name. It's time to make the switch. Go to authentic-brand.com. We'll be right back to View Rooftop with the head coach of the Hawkeyes and more Hawk Talk right after this from Learfield.
Comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spahn & Rose, like GAF. Use the Spahn & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spahn & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spahn & Rose, buy easier, build better.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Whether you're building a backyard fence for your family's new best friend or firing up the excavator for your next commercial project, a free and simple call can save you from expensive fines and even save your life. Call 811 at least 2 days before you start your next project to have underground utility lines located and marked. At Mid-American Energy, your safety is our #1 priority. So, make it your priority to call 811 before you dig. Paid for by the customers of Mid-American Energy.
To anyone passing through our state, fields and fields of corn might be what they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is ethanol, a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is delicious pork, beef, poultry, and dairy. Corn is in 4,000 products we rely on every day. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it. Because corn grows Iowa. Show your support for Iowa corn farmers at iowacorn.org/corngrowsiowa.
Hey, come on out to View Rooftop this weekend if you're not heading to Ames, if you're not fortunate enough to have a ticket. And watch and listen here from View Rooftop atop the Hilton Garden Inn in Iowa City. It's a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design. Open all day on Hawkeye football game days with tailgate specials. View Rooftop providing a memorable experience with food, music, and fantastic views of the Iowa City skyline. Call 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. And set up your View Rooftop reservation first thing tomorrow. In fact, you can call tonight. Coach, Twitter, Diane wants to know, how do the coaches and teammates prepare or explain this Cy-Hawk rivalry to players not from Iowa? Go Hawks. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I go back to 81. It took my first experience in the game to really kind of figure out how important it is, and just I think it's a great. I can't believe it got discontinued. That's unfortunate, but great that it got renewed in the late 70s. Yeah, it's good for football in our state. I believe that, and we play you and I on a regular basis or frequent basis, not every other year, but I think that's important too. So, it's all good, but our guys figure it out quickly, and I don't think you have to be born here to understand like this is an important game. You figure that out really quickly, and the guys that are from this state do a good job, I think, of sharing that with their teammates, but. These are the things that make college football, I think, pretty cool. And, expansion's great. And, we're living in a new world. I get all that stuff. But one of the unfortunate byproducts is there's probably a little bit less, more apt to be less geographical matchups as we move forward in this new era of expansion and global football, global college football. So
realignment, everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a different world we're living in, or will be starting next year in college football. Diane, thank you for your question and your generosity and pulling for the Hawkeyes, of course, in this Cy-Hawk rivalry. Diane is the winner of our authentic brand Hawk Box tonight, which is loaded with merchandise, dressed up for theme games. It's now a breeze, all thanks to Authentic Brand. Discover the brand new Hawk Box and get ready for game day with just one simple click. Visit authentic-brand.com/Iowa and look for the Hawk Box. They'll have apparel in there for Diane, who is our winner tonight, for the gold. Be bold, wear gold. Blackout, stripe game, camo for our Veterans Day celebration coming up in November. Congratulations, Diane. Coach Eugene. On Twitter, you're using an offensive line rotation. Will this continue, or will you settle on a starting five?
It just depends how the guys play. I think, we let the guys compete all during camp and liked what we saw. And, that's one thing. And practicing against each other is really important. Don't want to minimize that. But at some point you go to game competition, and really how you react and how you do things in a game is critical. So, we learn more about our team with each practice and each competition. And long story short, as long as we have guys that we feel can help us play winning football, we're probably going to play them in some role, some capacity. So, yeah, that'll probably continue. I think it's safe to say that. We came out pretty healthy the other day, and then we'll get Bo Stevens back. If it's not this week, it'll be the next week. But he was doing well till he got injured a couple weeks ago. So I think we have good competition, and never been afraid to rotate guys as long as we can play together as a unit, and that's so critical. So yeah, we'll just take it a week at a time, but it's a healthy situation right now instead of one of desperation.
Eugene had a follow-up too, Coach. Would you switch from zone blocking to man blocking during a game?
Yeah, we actually mix both. Yeah, we do both, and we do. Since we're talking about schemes, the other prominent scheme is like a down scheme type thing. Or gap, I guess gap's a better way to phrase it. But those are the three main kinds, and we mix all those in. Probably most teams do have just a matter of what percentages you try to utilize or emphasize in your scheme, and a lot of that has to do with what your opponents present.
One more before we go to break here. This is from Drew. I assume this is not Drew Tate.
Never know.
Is it safe to assume a 100% Cade McNamara will not be seen this season due to the nature of his injury, or would there be enough rest time in season to get him there?
Yeah, that's really tricky, and that's one of the dilemmas you have when you go through things, injury situations. But it really gets back to, if we feel like he can function in a way that is going to be becoming of him and his ability, and also, most importantly, help our team play well, then, he'll be out there. And if he can't, then we'll let Deacon go or Joe go and just kind of go from there. But it's hard to predict. It's week to week, and this week's gone well thus far. But what you don't know, the unknown, is, what's the reaction going to be. He had one play the other on Saturday where he had to kind of react a little quicker than maybe he was ready for, or we were hoping for, and that set him back a little bit. He had a little bit of a burn on that one. But, it's a tough game. Football's a really tough game, physically a tough game mentally, and it's I don't know if they come much tougher. I've only been around Cade now for less than a year, but really impressed with his toughness. That's not an issue.
That's good to hear. Take a break here. We'll come back. We'll give you a volleyball score update, and we'll also talk about more about Iowa State and Iowa. 2:30 kickoff over in Ames on Saturday. The next home game is Western Michigan coming up in a week's time, a little over a week. You can upgrade game day with the Hawkeye Village Get game tickets, pregame extravaganza, all-you-can-eat drinks, and more. Perfect for groups or families. Limited availability. To get your tickets, visit HawkeyeSports.com and click on the Hawkeye Village link. That's always a popular stop come football season. Join the Hawkeye excitement at Hawkeye Village. And score big on game day at Bump's Restaurant out at the Finkbine Golf Course. They're parking out there. Why don't you stop in for a Bloody Mary, or for just $35, enjoy an all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet, upscale tailgate favorites, and more. Bloody Marys, mimosas, and 35 different beers. Make your reservation by Friday at 11 a.m. for free game day parking just up the street from Kinnick. Reserve your spot at Bump's Restaurant at Finkbine now. 319-335-9662. 319-335-9662. We're at View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn, and more Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz coming up next from Learfield.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Let's be honest, we all like to be noticed. Picture yourself striding into Kinnick Stadium, radiating both style and comfort, while fellow Hawkeye fans can't help but ask, where'd you get that shirt? With pride, you point to the big screen and reply, it's Authentic Brand. Discover the remarkable difference that apparel with the Authentic Brand label brings. Ask for it by name at your favorite boutique, spirit shop, or retailer, or shop online at authentic-brand.com. It's time for a change in your style. It's time for Authentic Brand.
Bump's Restaurant in the Finkbine Golf Course Clubhouse is the place to go before Hawkeye football games. For just $35 per person, you can have an all-you-can-eat buffet that includes barbecue, upscale tailgate favorites, a carving station, and all the fixins in the friendly comfort of the modern clubhouse. A full bar, Bloody Marys, mimosas, and over 35 beers are available. Reservations made on Friday before 11 a.m. include free game day parking for one vehicle. Kinnick Stadium is a leisurely walk down Melrose Avenue, so make game day easy by parking and eating at Bump's. For reservations, call 319-335-9662.
Back with our closing moments with Hawk Talk and Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. We'll be on the air at 12:30 Saturday. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Great crowd both outside and inside. Another beautiful night. Almost jacket night. This weather's comfortable compared to that 95-degree stuff we've been having, but that's Iowa in the summertime. Thanks again to Iowa Corn for sponsoring our show tonight, and of course this wonderful week. One volleyball update before we get to the top of the hour. Iowa State won the third set, so it's 2-1 Iowa. The Hawkeyes are leading in the fourth set. Oh no, it's tied now at 10-10 in the fourth set. Iowa State is 5-0. Iowa's 4-2, so it's a good match out at Extreme Arena with football to come on Saturday. In fact, field hockey, how about our number one ranked field hockey team, folks? I forgot to mention that earlier tonight. Way to go, Lisa Salucci. And they have their home opener on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So come on out to Grant Field, maybe on your way to Ames, and take in the number one ranked field hockey team at that beautiful facility on the West Campus. Coach, from Nick on Facebook, I hear a lot teams make their most improvement or biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. How so? Where at? How so? Nick would like to. I don't know if he can pinpoint it.
No, I mean, it just kind of goes back to what we talked about the front end. Just, those makeable plays that we didn't make last week make a huge difference. And, it's a different thing when you finally get out there and play in a game situation after practicing for 4 weeks. It's a big difference. So it's a lot of moving parts, a lot of new guys, all that kind of stuff fitting in the equation. And so, I think you have an opportunity for that improvement. But the thing I always remind our players is not just going to happen because it's a cliche. Most cliches have truth in them because, otherwise they wouldn't live. So that has a lot of truth to it. But you have to make sure you're doing the work necessary to make that improvement. And I would expect our opponent's going to do the same thing. So that's part of the beauty of this whole thing. And how it looks this week is going to be different than last week. And then hopefully a month from now, we're a much better team than we were a week ago. So if a team's thinking right, that's what should be going on. And our best teams have done that. And then our teams that maybe weren't as good, didn't quite get that concept.
Coach Jan over in Clinton, this is an interesting one. Reading about your injuries, Coach, do players ever try Pilates, yoga, or other similar training methods in addition to weight training?
Yeah, they do. We actually mix some yoga in. I don't partake in it, but we have a pretty good attendance of guys that do it in the off season. They really seem to enjoy it, and I think the guys, you might be surprised at all the kinds of different things guys do.
You keep that undercover. That's CIA type stuff.
Yeah.
Yoga and Pilates. What do we got? A couple minutes left. We got time for at least one more. Kelly, Coach, why do you think Iowa has such a strong history of sending tight ends to the National Football League? And what can my teenage son do now to help give him a strong foundation to be a Hawkeye someday?
Well, I think this sounds really stupid or basic, but it is true. First of all, we use tight ends, and not many people do anymore. They really don't, and ironically, we're playing a team this week that does as well.
And you use a fullback.
Yeah, so I mean, if you come here, you might get a chance to play tight end, actually play tight end. I think that's part of it. But I was telling the color guy today when we were talking about the game. He asked that same question or a similar type question, and really, if you look at it historically, we've had a lot of different types of guys, whether it was Noah Fant, who was fast as could be, played as a freshman, T.J. Hawkinson redshirted, 3 years later is the 8th pick in the NFL draft. So a lot of different body types and all that, but the one commonality is they're guys that are good athletes, they work hard, they have great pride. And then the other thing, too, I would interject this if we're talking about a high school player. They've all been multi-sport athletes, all of them, and I think that's so critical. And I sound like the old guy in the room right now. I'm watching. Everybody wants to specialize. For football, it's so good to have a guy play multi-sports, 3, 4 sports, 2, whatever. But don't just focus on one thing. That's just one person's opinion.
You've always been a proponent of that.
Yeah.
Wrestling, track and field, it doesn't matter as long as you're involved in other sports. Gives you a broader base of what's out there.
You have plenty of time to specialize in college.
See you Saturday at Ames, Coach.
Sounds good, Gary. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Coach Ferentz, and thanks to View Rooftop here at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. We'll be back next Wednesday to recap Iowa State. Look ahead to Western Michigan at Kinnick a week from Saturday. Thank you, Iowa Corn and the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. We'll talk 12:30 Saturday from Jack Trice. Good night, everybody.
On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. Hawk Talk has been brought to you by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Your local Ford dealers, Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa football. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Also brought to you by Mid-American Energy. Look up, look out for overhead power lines. Visit midamericanenergy.com for electrical safety tips. By University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Cellular, built for the Hawkeyes. Built for silencing notifications and turning up the noise. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa Farm Bureau, who would like to remind you to support America's farmers. Check out AmericaNeedsFarmers.org. And by Authentic Brand, the label you wear makes a difference. Step up your game day looks and everyday style with Authentic Brand. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.